Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, a historic moment for the Catholic Church as Cardinal Robert Prevost is elected as the first pontiff from the United States. Americans and world leaders celebrating the election of who is now Pope Leo XIV. Britain's King Charles makes an appeal for global peace. And billionaire versus billionaire as Bill Gates lashes out on his feud with Elon Musk. A new era begins for the Catholic Church as Cardinals elect the first ever American pontiff. Cardinal Robert Prevost took the name Leo XIV. He was elected after a conclave that lasted less than 2 days or only 3 sessions. Speaking to crowds in St. Peter's Square, Leo thanked the late Pope Francis and repeated his predecessor's call for a church that is engaged with the modern world. Leo also delivered his first Urbi et Orbi blessing.
We must seek together how to be a missionary church, a church that builds bridges and dialogue, always open to receive as the square with open arms, to all who need our charity, our presence, dialogue, love. Peace be with all you.
Pope Leo XIV's election caught the Catholic world by surprise. Cardinal Robert Prevost had barely been mentioned as a papal frontrunner, and it was viewed as highly unlikely that an American pontiff would be elected. Prevost, who is age 69, was a little-known missionary from Chicago. He also served as bishop in Peru from 2015 and was made cardinal in 2023. Pope Francis later made Prevost the head of the Vatican office, in charge of choosing which priests should serve as Catholic bishops across the globe. Prevost has also been known for his quiet style and support for Francis, especially his commitment to social justice issues.
This is someone who was on the lists of folks that might be a unifying candidate, someone who is going to move the church in the direction that Pope Francis has sent it, while also being someone who might try to bring more people together, have more continuity. I think the most important thing to remember about Robert Prevost, who's now Pope Leo XIV, is though he was born in the United States, we're really seeing a pope who's a global citizen. This is someone who spent some of his life as an American, but also a lot of his life in South America and a lot of his life in Europe.
A theologian also sees a sense of continuity within the church under the leadership of Pope Leo. In an interview on Billionary News Channel's It's a Beautiful Day, Brother Ivan Panganiban says the new pontiff shares his predecessor's commitment to a more inclusive and mission-driven church.
What we can see here is that there is a continuity. So the continuity of the legacy of Pope Francis in the sense that there is a church that is much more open, much more welcoming to different kinds of people. And that is something that the new Pope himself said in his speech a while ago in the early morning. He said that we have to look together how to become a missionary church, building bridges, dialogue, and to have open arms for everyone. So those words alone tell us that the direction of the church at this new pontificate is going to be a continuity of opening the church to the modern world.
Americans and Peruvians celebrating the election of Pope Leo. Tourists in Rome waved U.S. flags, saying the new pontiff is a big blessing for the church in America.
I'm feeling great, feeling really good, because he's a good man, and I predicted him.
When I found out that it was actually an American Pope, I was really excited, like having the leader of the Catholic Church be from the same country as I am I just felt very proud.
Residents in Chicago also expressed pride and excitement.
The name Leo, and the last Pope Leo wrote Rerum Novarum, which is about the rights of workers. So I feel that he's going to be invested in the people.
Meanwhile, in Peru, some citizens see the Pope's election as a call for unity in the country. World leaders also welcoming Pope Leo's election. U.S. President Donald Trump, whom Leo has criticized over immigration, says he's planning to meet with the Pope.
What greater honor could there be? And we were a little bit surprised, very happy. It's just a great, absolutely great honor.
As for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he says he values the Holy See's consistent position in condemning Russia's invasion. He hopes for the Vatican's continued moral and spiritual support to restore justice. The UN chief, for his part, says he looks forward to building on the long legacy of cooperation between the UN and the Holy See to advance solidarity, foster reconciliation, and build a just and sustainable world for all. Here's something for Flashback Friday. It turns out that the man who would one day become Pope has already set foot in the Philippines. The Archdiocese of Cebu shared photos of then Bishop Robert Prevost taken during a visit in 2004. He was the prior general of the Augustinian Order and was in Mohon, Talisay City to bless the Augustinian friary. PDPLaban holds a fiery finale to their campaign, with Vice President Sara Duterte making a bold appeal. She also raises alarm over alleged election cheating. Our Hanati reports.
In the middle of light rain and a burst of green confetti, Vice President Sara Duterte stepped on stage at PDPLaban's final campaign rally. She came not as an official, but as a voter worried for the nation's future. She said she received reports of massive cheating, allegedly backed by the administration's Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas slate.
Ang binuong alyansa ay isang mapanganib na pagsasanib puwersa ng isang administrasyong walang kakayahan, mga elitistang liberal, at mga tinaguriang makabayan na ang tunay na hangarin ay manatiling mahirap ang taong bayan.
Her call, vote straight for Duterte, but she added two names, which drew mixed reactions from the crowd.
Alam ko hindi kayo matutuwa, pero iboboto ko si Amy Marcos. Iboboto ko rin si Camille Villar.
The two were not part of Duterte, but remain close allies of the vice president and were endorsed in earlier ads. Her youngest sister, Kitty, was also present with a message for their father, FPRRD.
Know that I remain unafraid, unbent, and unswayed, just like you. Your battle is my battle.
Attorney Raul Lambino dismissed claims that PDPLaban candidates were pro-China. He said their critics simply want the conflict in the West Philippine Sea to escalate to profit from arms sales. The slate also mocked the shrinking number of opposing candidates.
Kulang na silang 12. 10 na lang yata sila o kaya 9 na lang yata. Ay mag-ialisan na po yan. Pero ang Duterte, buong buo dahil po sa inyong lahat.
Duterte lamang ang nangangako na hindi namin kayo nanakawan.
Alam namin lahat, nangangatog na sila. Nangangatog sila dahil alam nilang kasinungalingan nila. Bakit nagkawatak-watak ang mga Pilipino? Bakit? Bakit, Pangulong Marcos?
Meanwhile, Sagip Party List Representative Rodante Marcoleta is unbothered by survey results. Only 2 from their slate have made it to the projected Magic 12. He ranked 18th in the latest SWS survey.
Pinipilit nilang ibaba kami lahat sa survey. Naniniwala ba kayo sa survey?
Former pediatrician to Kitty Duterte, Dr. Richard Mata, pitched his healthcare agenda.
Importante po ang kalusugan. Dahil po kahit mahirap lang tayo, kahit wala tayong pera, pero kung ang kalusugan natin ay covered ng gobyerno, ang pakiramdam natin ay mayaman tayo. Agree ba?
Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, who's now under PNP custody on trafficking and abuse charges, sent a video message to supporters.
Ang akin pong tunay na ambisyon ay ayusin ang ating bansang Pilipinas.
Former Executive Secretary Vic Rodriguez also aimed his speech at the Marcos administration. He was PBBM's former Chief of Staff and Executive Secretary.
Sa aking mga kasama dito sa Duterte sa PDP, salamat brothers, isang karangalan na tayo nagsama-sama ngayong halalan at dalhin ninyo ang buong Duterte sa Senado.
Fill my heart with gladness is my purpose. That's what you do.
Senator Bato de la Rosa took a lighter approach and sang for supporters. His fellow Senator Bongo, who's consistently on top of surveys, defended his record.
Wala po akong absent sa Senado sa loob po ng 6 na taon. Makikita niyo ako nandiyan sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao.
Vice President Sara Duterte raised the hands of all Duterte candidates, her father's Senate bets. This marked the final grand rally of the party before Monday's midterm elections. Hannah T., Billionario News Channel.
Local candidates in Laspinas City holding their meeting de avance today. Let's get an update from our Mojo, Ivy Reyes, who joins us now on the scene. Ivy, what's the latest there?
Mai, 3 days before the big day, Tropang Nene Aguilar, the slate of the top incumbent officials here in Laspinas City, holds their meeting de avance at the Aguilar Sports Complex. In her speech, Vice Mayor April Aguilar stressed the need for a united governance. In Las Piñas, there are two political colors, the green team of the Aguilars and the orange team of the Villars. First cousins Carlo Aguilar and April Aguilar are going head-to-head for the mayoral post. April's sister, Aleli Aguilar Andanar, the wife of former PCOO Secretary Martin, is also running for councilor. Meanwhile, incumbent Mayor Mel Aguilar, April and Aleli's mother, has reached her term limit and is now running to switch positions with her daughter. A little more history about the green and orange parties of Las Piñas. The Villar-led team wants a change in the city, while the current Las Piñas admin wants to continue former Mayor Nene Aguilar's legacy, which mainly focused on health assistance. This also is not the first time the two parties clashed, because until now, the 2010 Las Piñas Bay Reclamation Project of the Aguilar family is opposed by Senator Cynthia Villar and now her nephew, former Councilor Carlo Aguilar. This project was approved by the Philippine Reclamation Authority in 2010 and by the High Court in 2021. This morning, the Nani Aguilar team brought with them celebrities like actors and dancers Enrique Gil and Maha Salvador. Former PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar is also present here. Meanwhile, later this afternoon, the Villar-led team will have their meeting de avance at the tent complex in near C5 Road. Mai?
Thank you, Ivy Reyes, reporting live from Las Piñas. Filipino and American forces formally end their largest annual defense exercise. Francis Falve is on the line from Camp Aguinaldo for the story on Balikatan 2025. Francis, go ahead. Francis?
2025 has officially ended today. The closing ceremony was held at the AFP headquarters here at Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City. Defense Secretary Gilbert Sodoro, U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines Mary Kay Carlson, AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr., DFA and officers from both the United States and the Philippine armies are present. The successful 40th iteration of the Balikatan exercise highlighted the full-scale battle scenario, which put to test the capabilities of two countries in the most realistic scenarios, engaging troops in a wide range of scenarios, including the multilateral maritime event, counter-landing and live-fire exercise, cybersecurity and humanitarian and emergency evacuation, and rescue missions. This year's Balikatan also included new assets, such as the MADIS and the Nemesis, and other familiar high-mobility artillery rocket system, or HIMARS. As the annual War Games 2025 concludes, the planning for next year's joint military drills has immediately commenced. According to Secretary Isidoro, he is already excited to see how far the drills in 2026 would go. He also reiterated that this joint exercise is based on trust, which he credits the success of this exercise. Isidoro also commended the minds which planned this year's drills. Mai?
Thank you, Francis Falve, reporting from Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City. Good news for motorists as another oil price rollback is expected next week. Based on 4 days of trading, the cost of gasoline could go down by up to 75 centavos per liter, diesel by as much as 1.35 per liter, and kerosene by up to 1.45. Energy officials say factors for the projected rollback include increased production by OPEC countries and uncertainty over U.S.-China trade talks. We're taking a break. Up ahead, Bill Gates lashes out at Elon Musk. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. You're back on Newsfeed at Noon. Billionaire versus billionaire as Bill Gates lashes out at the world's richest man, Elon Musk. Gates says Musk's huge cuts to U.S. foreign aid risk costing millions of deaths. Musk heads the Department of Government Efficiency, created by Trump 2.0 to stamp out federal bureaucracy. Gates warns the funding cuts could lead to a resurgence of deadly diseases like measles, HIV, and polio.
I think Elon, hasn't been out in the field and met these USAID workers like I have. I think it's heroic work, and I think what he did over that weekend is very unfortunate, including mischaracterizing what the money was being spent on. Then we have the next period of time, could be 4 years, 6 years, where we're having funding cuts from a number of countries, including the U.S., and the number of deaths will start going up for the first time. They went down from around 10 million to less than 5 million, and now, it's going to be millions of more deaths because of the resources.
The 69-year-old Gates says he will donate his remaining fortune to his charity. He hopes the money would help eradicate diseases and preventable deaths among women and children and reduce global poverty. Gates says he doesn't want to be remembered for dying rich, but for making a meaningful impact on the world.
Polio is one where the Gates Foundation is significantly the biggest funder, but the U.S. government up till now has been the second biggest funder. We need them to rededicate themselves, or else that disease will spread back and again paralyze hundreds of thousands of children. We're talking about tens of millions of lives that have been saved through these partnerships, and everybody should be excited about every single death we avoid.
The 4-day commemoration of the 80th anniversary of Victory in Europe Day, culminating in a call for global peace from Britain's King Charles. Celebrations come at a time of conflict in Europe, with Russia's war in Ukraine far from over. On Thursday, the King and the heir to the throne, Prince William, laid wreaths at the grave of the unknown warrior in Westminster Abbey to honor those who gave their lives during World War II. VE Day's 80th anniversary is seen to be one of the last major celebrations, with living veterans attending events, as most are now in their 90s or older.
We reach the conclusion of the 80th anniversary commemorations. We should remind ourselves of the words of our great wartime leader, Sir Winston Churchill, who said, "Meeting jaw to jaw is better than war." In so doing, we should also rededicate ourselves not only to the cause of freedom, but to renewing global commitments to restoring a just peace where there is war, to diplomacy, and to the prevention of conflict.
In entertainment, mission complete for actor Alden Richards as he meets Hollywood star Tom Cruise. Alden took to Instagram to share their memorable encounter during the premiere of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning in South Korea. The video showed Alden going up to the A-list star and shaking his hand. They even had quite a lengthy conversation, with Tom hugging Alden at one point. In the caption, Alden wrote, "Ethan meets Ethan. I have no words." The actor played the lead role of Ethan in the blockbuster Hello, Love films, while Tom portrays Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible franchise. And before we go, now that we finally got an American Pope, from Chicago to be exact, social media users are quick to react in typical internet fashion. A Democrat advocate quips, "It's a smart play for the Vatican to go with an American Pope to avoid U.S. tariffs." For others, Rome will finally get good pizza, pertaining to Chicago's famous deep dish pizza. Some netizens, meanwhile, say an American Pope actually sounds like a good idea for a series. Producer Steve Morris posted this meme saying, "American Catholics may have lost the 2024 elections, but they're not really aiming for the presidency." Several ex-users also jokingly suggest what the new Pope mobile could look like. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel. Good afternoon.